At this, joining me now, criminal defense attorney Paige Pate and Jason Johnson, an HLN contributor and political columnist for the Chicago Defender. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate it. You were with me through that long Zimmerman trial, and I found it interesting that this juror chose to show her face, although she didn't make her name public.
And people are going to find her. I mean, she put herself out there. But I think what's interesting is some of the people who felt that this was a miscarriage of justice, they're going to say, well, why didn't you hold out? Why didn't you stay longer? I mean, you guys made your decision in 16 hours. So I think in some ways this provides solace, and some people are still going to be angry.
And Paige, you could see how difficult it is to serve on a jury and the emotional pain that it causes. And you can also see how jurors didn't quite understand the law. So, I mean, I guess she could have held out, right? But she felt she did the right thing.
Well, it's difficult back in that jury room, and this is why the selection of the jury is so critical in a case like this, especially a self-defense case. I think it is clear that this juror was able to relate to Trayvon Martin more than the other 5 jurors were, but she could not hold out. She was simply outnumbered in the jury room and did not have any good legal arguments to respond with.
You were going to say.
Yeah, and basically you're held hostage at some point, because think about it, if you're the one holdout and you're like, I don't care what happens, I think this guy is guilty. If the other 5 women say, well, we're not going to have a hung jury, you're stuck there. So I don't see how she really had a choice.
Okay, so Paige, I'm going to ask you from a lawyerly perspective, did the prosecution lose this case?
They could have done a better job. I think that's the simple answer. You still have difficulty with the law. I think having to disprove self-defense was a very difficult burden for the state to meet, but I think they could have done things differently. They could have given jurors like this juror some better arguments, go through the law, don't just use emotion, give them something to fight with back in the jury room. They didn't do that.
Okay, I want to switch gears now and take our viewers back live to Cleveland, and that's where Ariel Castro, he'll soon enter this courtroom. We're expecting this man to plead guilty. A plea deal offered by prosecutors would spare Castro the death penalty and avoid a trial. As you know, Ariel Castro is the man accused of kidnapping and raping 3 women over a period of almost 10 years. Attorneys for those women, Amanda Berry, Michelle Knight, and Gina De Jesus, say they don't want their clients to testify at trial. It'll just be too painful. And we can see by the courtroom that court is about to begin. I don't think the judge has entered the courtroom, but I was distracted by your interesting conversation. But Paige, take us through what will happen in this hearing in Cleveland.
Well, if it's a change of plea hearing, then the judge is going to make sure that Mr. Castro knows exactly what he's charged with, knows that he has a right to go to trial, knows that he does not have to enter a guilty plea. He's going to have